So this video is about my Lego models, and I'm making it because every time I use one of the models, people ask me the same few questions again and again, so I've decided to answer them in this video. So before I show you the models, I'm going to explain why I actually use them. And the reason for that, we've got a saying in writing which is show not tell. Now, for example, I could just say a pulley creates a 2-to-1 mechanical advantage, or I could show you how that works. I could just say a differential allows one wheel to spin when it's in the air, or I could show you that. And it's demonstrating things so people can see it for themselves, which is what's important. Now, I could do that with a full-size car, and I obviously do from time to time, as much as I can, but models have a few advantages. First of all, you can angle them up exactly, go up this steeper hill or that steeper hill or whatever the case may be. You can make it very precise, and also you can show people the insides of how things work. So these are very simple models of a differential and a fixed axle. I've used them before, and I can't really pull apart my own car's differential and put a camera on it so you can see it, but with a Lego model I can show you, and it's exactly the same, well, obviously not made of plastic, as it is in real life. So those are the reasons that I have created these models. After going through it again and again, I've been thinking, how could I improve it? Well, I put these two bits of tape there, so it goes around like that. You can see that they can go independently, whereas these two, because it's on the fixed axle, always goes round at the same speed in unison. So it's things like that I go through again and again, trying to figure out how best to explain something, because this job has got two challenges. The first challenge is understanding the subject matter in greater detail than I'm going to go to in the explanation. And the second challenge is, maybe the bigger challenge, is once you've understood what's going on, and sometimes that can be hard enough, you've then got to think of ways to put it over to people that makes sense to them. And that's the second challenge which comes out, and that's where the models are so useful. Now, one of the common questions is, what kit did you use, and where did you get that? And the answer is, well, there is no kit. They're all my own designs. I just create them literally from scratch. So I'll run you through some of the models I've got. So that's the most basic one. We've talked about that one. This one I made to demonstrate IWD, or individual wheel drive. It doesn't have its front wheels on at the moment, but it's got two motors here which you can control independently, so it doesn't have or need a differential, which is pretty cool. It's got a video on individual wheel drive. This one you haven't seen much of yet, but that's going to be demonstrating an innovative new trailer hitch called Tow Guardian, and guess what that is? Well, that's going to be a virtual hitch. So I'm just working out how best to explain that. Again, I understand how Tow Guardian works. It's just, how do I go about explaining that in the best way? And that can often take many iterations. Now, this one you've probably seen a fair bit. And this one has got three differentials. It's got a centre, rear and front. And it's also got a functioning winch as well. And I've made that one actually radio control, as you can see, like that, and that just works off the Lego Control Plus app. Now the steering does work, but I haven't motorised the steering. Why not? Because I want people to be able to see what's inside, see those differentials there, and not cover them up. It's important you can see the shafts and the cogs and everything else turning, and understand what's going on. And this one is one which I've just made. I'm going to be doing a little demonstration of this one so you can see it in a bit more detail. It's got front and rear locking differentials, and it's also got, it can be made front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, or all wheel drive. I haven't put steering on it yet, but I'll get around to that shortly. So where do I get the parts to build all these models? Well, here's the answer. Essentially, all of the models I build are just repurposed from models such as these. I've got a couple of Unimog kits which have been disassembled, and one of them, in fact, this model is actually a combination of the Unimog kit. It's got the portal axles from the Unimog, as well as the drivetrain out of this. This one is going to be really interesting. This has actually got a locking centre differential and a locking rear differential. So I'm going to be pulling that one apart shortly after I do a bit of video with it. And there's the Audi e-tron here. I've pulled the wheels off it already, just put them back on for this video. And essentially, if you want to build your own, what I'd recommend you do is buy 2 or 3 kits like this. Essentially, I look for anything which is remote controlled and has at least one differential, preferably 2 or more, and you buy enough of that and you start to build up a stockpile of parts of differentials and axles and everything else you need, and you can repurpose some of the bits and pieces, etc. So that's how I do it. There's nothing particularly special about it. One interesting thing about Lego is I thought naively, oh look, I'll just go and buy some second-hand kit, you know, I don't need it to buy it new, someone will get bored of it, I'll buy it second-hand. Well, Lego doesn't work like that. It's actually really, really collectible, and kits can be very expensive indeed. So you may as well buy new. I'm lucky to have a friend. She collects Lego. She's got loads of it, and sometimes she just gets bored with kits or buys 2 of them or whatever. I don't really know. And they end up with me, and that's how I've got this one, and in fact this one, and that one I bought myself. So typically, someone else builds it. I hate building Lego via instructions. I literally cannot do it. I'm incapable of following the instructions. My brain just can't do that. So I get someone else to build it, like a daughter. And once they bring it to me, then I pull it apart and it becomes one of the other kits. Now, I should also talk about the internals of this. So this is the Dakar winning Audi, and it is remote control, it is all-wheel drive, but it's got a motor at the front and motor at the back, and essentially there's no real software powertrain between them. They just get the same amount of torque front and rear. It's got independent suspension, which is pretty good, and it's got steering, and that's the way that one works. And the drivetrain on this one is identical as well. There's a motor at the front, motor at the back. There's no locking differentials, as you can see. There's none on that either. Open diff, but it's got better suspension flex. So same powertrain here and here. Like I say, the Zetros, something it's called, is different. Open differential at the front and at the back. The rear one does lock, and I think it's got a center lock, but when I pull it apart, I'll go into a bit more detail in that one as well. So hopefully that answers people's questions about why I build Lego models and how I build them and how you can do it as well. People do ask me if I can send them the plans. If there were any plans, I would send them to you, but there aren't any. I just literally sit there and build it on the fly, so there's that. I can't really build them to order either, because I don't think I've got enough parts for 2 models, and I'd never build 2 exactly the same anyway. I'm happy to put a more detailed video together so you can kind of look in greater detail and see exactly how I put this one together, and then that will give you a head start on building your own once you've bought enough parts in things like this. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. Any questions, please use the comment section.